Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another Pokemon trading card game video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a special deck that just actually won the Texas State Championship. And it was a very interesting deck, so I thought I would go ahead and take a look at it. The player who won the tournament was named Michael Feller. He was gracious enough to share his list with everybody, so we can go ahead and take a look at it. And take a look at probably one of the most interesting decks we've seen win in a long time. So this is an Aromatisse Klinklang deck. Lots of setting up going on here, lots of different crazy stuff happening. But we'll take a look at it piece by piece so we can figure out what's going on. So the number one thing we're going to look at here first is Aromatisse. It has the Fairy Transfer ability. Allows you to move Fairy energy all around your Pokemon. This can also be things like Prism energy and Rainbow energy, since they do provide Fairy energy. They can be moved around with Fairy Transfer. So this allows your deck to be very versatile, and this allows you to move energy between attackers, and it's just a pretty cool concept in general. We've seen it used quite a bit already. Now we have Aromatisse, and we also have Klinklang. Now Klinklang was a card that was used a lot last format, has the ability Plasma Steel, prevent all damage done to your metal Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. Pretty cool. Your opponent's Pokemon EX cannot hurt any of your metal Pokemon. So, last year we saw a deck featuring Klinklang with Plasma Steel, along with Klinklang with Shift Gear, which allowed you to move your metal energy around. This is a very similar concept. Now we have Klinklang, and Aromatisse replaces the Shift Gear Klinklang. Now, of course, we're going to be running tons of metal Pokemon to take advantage of Plasma Steel. So our Pokemon that we're going to use first is Skarmory EX, a card that does not see much play at all. 2 colorless energy does Joust. 30, and before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So this can be very good against things like Genesect EX, whose G-Booster can go through Plasma Steel, but with Joust, we can discard that and take it away. So Skarmory EX is pretty cool. We also have Tailspin Pile Driver. What an incredible attack name. Does 80 plus 40 if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it. So it can do up to 120 damage. Not bad. It's actually a pretty average Pokemon for today's standards, but when you're protected from Plasma Steel, then it becomes a lot better. The next metal Pokemon we have is Registeel EX, another Pokemon we really don't see very often. Triple Laser does 30 damage to 3 of your opponent's Pokemon. It's actually a pretty cool attack, I think. And then for 4 energy we have Protect Charge, 80 damage, and then reduces all damage by 20, done to Registeel next turn. 180 hit points, so it's a pretty bulky Pokemon, and especially with Protect Charge. But again, a pretty mediocre Pokemon by today's standards. Just when it can't be hurt by EXs, it becomes way better. And then the third metal Pokemon is one we've seen quite a bit, Cobalion EX. We have Righteous Edge, 30, and discard a special energy attached to the defending Pokemon. This can be an extremely annoying attack, just to chip away at your opponent's energy. And then Steel Bullet does 100, and then it's not affected by any effects like weakness resistance or anything else. Which means it can also get through things like Safeguard, so it can knock out Pokemon like Sigilyph and also Suicune. So Cobalion EX, a pretty cool attacker as well. We have 2 of each of these. We actually have a 2-2-2 Klinklang line, a 2-2 Aromatisse, so we got 2s all around. And then we have a couple tech cards here. First one is Virizion EX. Of course, Verdant Wind is an amazing ability. Any Pokemon that has a grass energy attached can't be affected by special conditions. So this would be good against things like Hypnotoxic Laser, Excelgor, anything that does special conditions. We can block them with Virizion EX, and since we have Prism and Rainbow energy, we can pretty much always stop those. Next we have Darkrai EX. This is used pretty much only for Dark Cloak. Each of your Pokemon that has any dark energy attached to it has no retreat cost, so this allows you to retreat freely between your Pokemon, since again we have Prism and Rainbow energy. So this is pretty much the exact same thing as these old school Klinklang decks we have, but now it focuses around the metal attackers, since a lot of the format does revolve around EX attackers. So we can be immune to those. And we can get some versatility thanks to Aromatisse and Darkrai as well. So pretty cool concept. Very difficult to pull off, but hey, it won the biggest state championship in the United States. Texas had over 200 Masters, and this is the deck that came out on top. We can take a look at some other stuff here. Like I've been saying, we have 4 Rainbow Energy, and while it's in play, it provides every type. So it's 1 energy card, but it provides every type. So this allows us to take advantage of Fairy Transfer, Dark Cloak, Verdant Wind, a very awesome energy card. And then we have Prism Energy, which is basically the same thing, but it only works on basic Pokemon. And then we have 4 Fairy Energy as well. Just as our basic energy, we can move around. Alright, so our supporters, we have 4 Professor Juniper, 3 Colress, 3 Shauna, which is an interesting addition, and only 2 N. Because, well, the creator of the deck said, well, you don't really need N too often. Once you set up your strategy, your deck kind of shuts down most of the other decks in the format. We do have a couple N because they are pretty powerful cards, but you don't really need 4, I suppose. So I guess that's the thinking behind that. Probably the biggest thing in the deck is 4 Max Potion. So one of the biggest things with that shift gear, Klinklang, was you could move the energy away from your Pokemon, Max Potion, heal all the damage, and then move all the energy back to the Pokemon. And there you go, fresh Pokemon ready to go. 4 Max Potion with 180 hit point Pokemon. Pretty darn good. Otherwise, we have 3 Ultra Ball, 3 Level Ball, allows us to get out our Aromatisse line and the lower stages of Klinklang, and 2 Heavy Ball as well, which can get the entire Klinklang line, since they all have 3 retreat cost or more. And we can also get Registeel with the Heavy Ball as well. We have 2 Tool Scrapper, just for the Garbodor decks, and also for Genesect EX's G Booster. And Tool Scrapper is just kind of good in general. 2 Enhanced Hammer, really hating on those special energy. This combined with Cobalion EX can be a nightmare for decks that revolve around special energy. And we also have a Super Rod as well. Shuffle in 3 Pokemon or basic energy back into your deck just in case you need to recover something that gets in the discard pile. And 1 Dowsing Machine as well for the A-Spec, so we could potentially have 5 Max Potions in a game. And, I mean, that would have to drive your opponent crazy if they came so close to knocking out one of your Pokemon that many times, and it kept getting healed by Max Potion. So that is this deck. I believe he called the deck Heavy Metal Fairies. So that's what we have to work with here. I did manage to play a game with it, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that right now. Now, just a warning, this deck is extremely slow, and it does not win games very quickly. So if you are planning on using this deck, prepare for very long, drawn-out games where, I mean, somebody's going to be frustrated by the end of it. I can almost guarantee you that. So we're going to go ahead and start off with a level ball for a Klink. Just take a look at what is in the deck. And I think the first thing we see a Thunderous EX, so the first thing I want to go for is a Klinklang, so we can start getting that Plasma Steel going and shut down our opponent's Pokemon EX. That's going to be the plan here. Alright, so we have a level ball, and that means, this is probably not going to be a standard Team Plasma deck, and no, it's going to be an Aromatisse deck. Uh-oh. So this is kind of an Aromatisse mirror match of sorts, which is a little annoying. But that might just make the game even longer. But, oh well, we'll see what we can do about this. So we do see the Darkrai EX. So we have seen variants of this style of a Aromatisse deck that runs Thunderous EX for kind of energy acceleration. It'll probably run Genesect EX as well, which is a very big problem for this deck. So we'll see what happens. Get hit for the Raid Knuckle for 30. I'm going to go ahead and attach the Rainbow to Cobalion EX, and then just Shauna for 5, since I didn't really want to Juniper away some of that stuff. And we'll just Righteous Edge for 30, discarding the Prism Energy off of the Thunderous EX as well. We see a Lightning Energy, which is kind of strange to me. since you can't move that around with Aromatisse. But I guess it's good against Enhanced Hammer and Cobalion EX, so hey, I guess it worked out. This kind of puzzled me, but it's actually pretty annoying. I can't remove that energy. Most fairy decks I've seen just run. The style like this only run 4 Rainbow, 4 Prism, and 4 Plasma Energy. Maybe a Fairy Energy or 2, but I have never seen Lightning in this kind of a deck, so that actually threw me for a loop for a second there, but hey, we'll have to see if we can deal with it. And I do get hit by the Raid Knuckle for 50, and the energy goes on to the bench. Alright. So here I'm going to level ball and get the Klang. We'll get that into play. Once we get Klinklang in play, I'm going to feel pretty safe. Going to feel pretty good about my odds. And I guess we can go ahead and attach another energy. We'll put that on the bench. Skarmory EX. Seems like the best place to put that, considering the active could get knocked out next turn by all sorts of things once Aromatisse comes out. We could get hit by an Evil Ball or something like that. I guess I'll go ahead and play the N here. We want to make sure we get the Klinklang next turn. And I'm actually going to retreat the Cobalion EX since I just realized, oh hey, my opponent has the Fairy Garden in play. So now I get free retreat too. Alright. So we can always take advantage of that Fairy Garden since every energy in this deck will provide Fairy energy. So that means I don't even have to put down my Darkrai this game, and that's pretty darn sweet. We can save a bench spot for some other stuff. And we don't have to bother putting down an EX that's not a metal Pokemon. So Fairy Garden, alright, we're glad our opponent plays that. So we hit Thundurus EX with a Joust, discarding the Muscle Band. That was mainly just to keep Cobalion EX alive. We see a Genesect EX, and this is really going to be my only concern in this matchup. Red Signal is going to be very annoying. You can bring out the Klang, and I'm not really too scared of that though, because you can't knock out the Klang, and that seems kind of like a waste. So he'll just hit it for 30 with Raid Knuckle, but I mean that's not a big deal. And there we go, I got the Klinklang. And now we can just attach the Rainbow to the Klinklang, and it can retreat for free thanks to the Fairy Garden. So it's nice that we can take advantage of these things. I'm just going to play the Shauna for 5, and we get the Aromatisse. So that means, oh man, we can retreat and Fairy transfer to the Skarmory. And that means we can get a big Tailspin Pile Driver. I'm trying to envision how that attack actually looks if Skarmory were to perform Tailspin Pile Driver. I'm not really sure. But we get the knockout on the Thundurus EX, take a quick 2 prizes. But I think the biggest problem with this Fairy Aromatisse Klinklang deck is it's really not a high-powered kind of a deck. It's going to take a long, long time to knock out Pokemon. It really almost doesn't do enough damage. But if your opponent's Pokemon can't really hit you back, then hey, I guess it works out. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I do have an Enhanced Hammer. I'm not sure how well that's even going to work with the Thundurus EX up there. The things we have to worry about are just, number 1, Genesect's Red Signal. Number 2, Max Potion, healing our opponent's Pokemon. And you can see we take 0 from the Raid Knuckle thanks to the Plasma Steel ability of Klinklang. And number 3, my opponent could play G-Booster as their A-Spec. And if that's the case, I'm going to be in some trouble. The G-Booster does go through Plasma Steel. And that means I can still get knocked out by Genesect, and that could be very annoying. The thing I'm worried about the most is a Red Signal onto the Klinklang, and then a G-Booster to knock it out. That would be my number 1 fear, and I do not want to see that. So here I have the Enhanced Hammer, and it's almost like, what am I even playing it on? So I'm going to save it. Maybe there's a better time where we can, I don't know, after our opponent uses G-Booster or something, maybe we can discard another special energy off the board and really devastate them. We're just going to save it for a better time. I don't really know. There doesn't seem like any real benefit to using Enhanced Hammer right now. I mean, we get rid of one of the many special energy on board, but I mean, he can either attack me or he can't, so not a big deal. And if I just use it now, I'll probably get hit by another Raiden Knuckle, and they'll just get the energy right back, so sometimes you just gotta save your Enhanced Hammer for the right time. Alright, so I'm going to retreat into Kabalion EX at this point. It has more HP, and also Skarmory has Joust in case G-Booster does come out. I'm going to go for a Heavy Ball, and looks like Klink number 2 is prize. That's kind of a bummer. So we can't set up a backup Klinklang. That's what I would really like to do here. But it looks like that's not going to happen. I'll just go ahead and Fairy transfer some stuff around. And we'll go for the Steel Bullet for 100. Seems like the right thing to do. I can Tailspin Pile Driver for 80, Protect Charge for 80, or Steel Bullet for 100. And 100 seems like the way to go. So here we see the most annoying aspect of this matchup. Max Potion. I can't knock out things in one hit, so Max Potion is very annoying. We see an Ultra Ball. I doubt that'll really go for anything. And we haven't really used many resources. That's a positive on my end. But Genesect is a major problem. And it makes me wonder if we should add something like Spiritomb to the deck to stop G-Booster from coming into play. And, force our opponent to use a red signal, use one of those plasma energy to bring out Spiritomb and knock it out. And, that way our EXs and our Klinklang still survives. That might be something to think about. I don't know. But we see the red signal on to Aromatisse. And that's bad news because then I'm going to lose my Fairy transfer. And that's no good. My energy will be stuck on our Pokemon out there. But hey, there's still 3 on the Kabalion EX. I got a couple on some other Pokemon. So I don't expect Kabalion EX to really get knocked out anytime soon. But who knows? It is annoying to lose the Aromatisse, especially because number 2 is prized. But we can get another Spritzy, hopefully find the Super Rod, and then get Aromatisse back into play. It is annoying that Aromatisse is not a metal Pokemon, so it can be knocked out by these kinds of things. We see the Darkrai Night Spearing with a Muscle Band because of the resistance on Aromatisse, but oh well, that's going to be a knockout. That's only 1 prize, though. He's still got 5 to go. This is definitely a war of attrition. It's going to be, boy, who runs out of stuff first? It's going to be a long, long battle. So, again, I'm just going to go with the Steel Bullet and favor trying to knock things out rather than discard special energy, since I feel like that's almost a worthless effort. I want to try to win as quickly as possible, run my opponent out of max potions, try to win that way, and see if that can work. Since it seems like I'll never really be able to run my opponent out of special energy with that Thunderous EX back there. But, I don't know. Who knows? We see another max potion, so I'm just trying to wear those down. And there's a Chorus for 9 cards. My opponent's down to 13 cards already. So this could turn into a deck out kind of a thing where my opponent cannot actually claim all 6 prizes. That would be kind of funny. And I guess we'll have to see how my opponent proceeds from here. There's not much my opponent can really do unless we see another red signal on to Spritzy. Or we see a G-Booster. That would be one of the 2 options that would really do anything. We could see Aromatisse attack, but I feel like that would be suicide because it would get knocked out right away by a Steel Bullet. So I don't think we'll see that. I'm going to Ultra Ball for the Aromatisse right here. Get that into play. I could have also done a second Spritzy, but I think we'll just do Aromatisse just so we have that in play. And I'm not even going to play anything. We don't really need to do much else. We'll just go ahead with the Steel Bullet for 100. Do some more damage to the Darkrai. Could have played a Chorus there to get some more stuff, but it's almost like, what else do I need at this point? And these games are so long that I'm just trying to... Oh no, G-Booster! Ah! Alright, that was the last card I wanted to see. But these games are so long that I just kind of want to get moving along. I don't want this video to be an hour long. So, yeah, we're trying to make some quick moves here. Smart but quick moves. Now we see the G-Booster. that means something can get knocked out right here. And that is a very, very troubling thing to see. We see a Shadow Triad in the discard already, though. But if we saw a red signal and then a G-Booster knockout onto my Klinklang, that could be a real problem. Then it opens the floodgates. But no, and my opponent actually doesn't even attack at all with G-Booster. So, hey, Tool Scrapper, and goodbye, G-Booster. And now I feel like this game is pretty much locked up. And I don't really see a way to lose at this point unless we see a Shadow Triad for G-Booster again. And there's already one in the discard pile. Seems fairly unlikely. But who knows? I've seen stranger things. And there is the Steel Bullet for 100. That Dark Eye has been taking a pounding from Cobalion EX. Keeps dropping the anvil on his head, but, you know, Max Potion just gets healed right up. We do see a Cassius. Gonna shuffle the Dark Eye in. I'm actually surprised by that as well. I think if Genesect would have gone in, that would have been much more annoying. Get those plasma energy back. That would have allowed more red signals, more annoyances. But my opponent might be very fed up at this point. If there's one thing this deck is good at, it is annoying your opponent. It has to be so frustrating to play against this kind of a deck. We see another red signal onto the Aromatisse, but I don't think my opponent actually has anything to knock it out unless we see another Muscle Band onto Yveltal EX. Aromatisse does resist Dark. I suppose we could just see a Megalo Cannon knocking out the Aromatisse. That would be a decent option. Otherwise, this feels like a very wasted red signal, since Aromatisse can just retreat. You know, just transfer a fairy energy to the active and then retreat. Pretty simple. Alright. So we see a Raid Knuckle for 30. I've been kind of confused by my opponent's moves this game. But this is an unusual deck. And, you know, it's tough to play against things you've never seen before. And that is a strength that this deck probably has. You know, it's just so much weird stuff going on. Just these big metal Pokemon that you can't really hurt. So it can be very frustrating to play against. And, you know, that's just an advantage you have sometimes with kind of rogue, unusual decks. And we're going to go ahead and just Steel Bullet for 100. Taking it to that Thunderous EX. Hopefully we can finally wear down our opponent. It's been so long since I took a prize. I took those two very early on, and then it's been max potions all the way since. And this is why the deck is kind of painful to play and play against. It doesn't do anything but slowly wears you down with 100 damage attacks until you finally run out of real estate and you have to sacrifice Pokemon to knockouts. It's kind of funny. But we see, oops, looks like Fairy Transfer moved a couple Prism onto Aromatisse. Those are now basic energy since Aromatisse is an evolved Pokemon. It's something you got to watch out for if you're playing an Aromatisse deck or any deck with Prism and Evolutions. Don't move your Prism energy to Evolutions because they turn into colorless energy and you can't move them anymore. So, yeah, don't do that. Now we see a Spritzee coming out. This is the only thing that can attack me right now. We see Spritzee joining the fight. And what is it going to do? It could use Sweet Scent and heal 20 damage from a Pokemon in play. But no, looks like it is attacking. It's going on the aggressive. And what's it going to be from Spritzee? We see a flop for 20. Oh, the devastating flop. I should just concede right there. I'm just going to attach another energy, and we can Steel Bullet. Even Righteous Edge would be a knockout because it's weak to metal. Well, just go ahead and knock out the little Spritzee, and my opponent has probably been annoyed to death at this point. Just not much else to do. The big Plasma Steel, blocking damage from the EXs. This is an incredibly annoying deck. And yeah, just a pass with the Yveltal EX active. And I think it's time to go into triple laser mode. My opponent's probably running out of max potions, so We will go ahead and fairy transfer. It seems like the quickest way to win. We'll triple laser 30 to the Thunderous, Virizion, and the Aromatisse. So in the 3 attacks, we can win with a triple laser. Wiping out 3 Pokemon. Even if there's 1 max potion, we can still knock out the other 2 with a couple more triple lasers. And Registeel is going to take us home. So we got the trifecta of metal attackers: Registeel, Skarmory, and Cobalion. Genesect comes out, and we see a Sycamore. Looks like my opponent is sick of this game and just decided to deck himself out. And that is going to wrap this up. No cards left in the deck, and all I have to do is pass. Pretty annoying that I couldn't just finish the game with a couple triple lasers, but a win is a win, and boy am I glad this game is over because that was painful. But at the end of the day, Heavy Metal Fairies, Klinklang Aromatisse takes the win over the standard Aromatisse Plasmid deck. And boy, I don't know, this deck is pretty annoying. I wonder if this deck's going to see some more play. It is the deck that won the Texas State Championship, and it's definitely interesting. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something. I will certainly have some more for you soon. I am Pooka from the Top Cut, and I will see you guys next time.